I'll just sit here and stare at myself. Okay. Sometimes I just have to remind myself to take a deep breath. It's Saturday. Snow wasn't in the forecast, but there's all kinds of things going on that weren't in the forecast, or at least that I wasn't aware that they were going to happen. Hello, and welcome to my YouTube channel, and thank you for those of you that are returning. I've been a bit fired up, especially in the last 24 hours, but really I've been quite fired up since the time I was released from the hospital. I made an attempt to turn my comments off because it's extremely distracting to me, so you guys could comment later. But they're still here. There's a shock. Me and technology are like oil and literal water. I don't know what else to say. So welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for those people that are returning. My neighbor's jamming out pretty good, so you're probably going to hear that. She's been the source of some contention and also the source of a lot of amazing laughter. I don't know what I would have done without her. Since the time that I've gotten out of the hospital, she has been the source of, I would like to use the word inspiration, but to be honest, that's probably not the word. She has been the sense of much humility and amazing friendship since I got out of the hospital. She has taken care of me and assisted me in ways that I never expected or never experienced anyone to help me since I got out of the hospital. She actually was coming down and helping me get my pants on in the morning. I'm doing a lot better now, but everything that I had gone through and needed to release since the time that I was in the hospital, I've had a hard time doing that because initially I wasn't able to cry, and in the hospital many times I felt the need or the want to cry, but I couldn't because I was in too much other physical pain to allow that to happen. So since I've been home, I've pretty much been just letting that out. She has been an incredible joy to me, and you guys know I've talked about her before. Apartment number 4, she's the one that called the cops on herself, 911 on herself 21 times on Friday, October the 14th, and on her 22nd call to 911, they came in and arrested her ass, and she spent the night in jail. What I found out yesterday in the car when she drove me to the grocery store is her lawyer said she actually called 911 63 times. You heard that right. She called 911 on herself 63 times because she was drunk and she was afraid of being drunk or something like that is the best I could get out of her. And yesterday, after we got done running an errand, we stopped at the gas station to get some gas, and the cops drove by, and I said, here she is, she's right here, she's driving my car after I had surgery and she doesn't even have a license. Come and get her. She's a public nuisance. She called 911 22 times on herself one night till she got arrested, and she was like, maybe you should stop giving energy updates and start doing stand-up comedy. But nevertheless, good times. I'm not here to talk about my neighbor's arrest record. The last thing I want to say about her is this. She went to court last week and her attorney said, you really don't want them to play all 63 of your calls to 911, so I suggest pleading guilty to disorderly conduct. Otherwise, they're going to play your 63 calls in front of the court today, and you're not going to get off with disorderly conduct if that happens. So I wanted to share with you the levity that she has shared with me, from helping me get my pants on the morning to driving Miss Daisy without a license. And that's why I actually had made a comment about reporting her, which I'm just joking. But it's given me a lot of good laughs in a time when I felt like giving up. Before I get into today's video, I hope that me being fired up and releasing and purging all of the things that I pent up inside me before the hospital and after my hospital stay will not affect this video in any kind of negative way. Sometimes being fired up can go in either direction. I'm asking right now that it go in the positive direction, and that's why I wanted to start with a little bit of levity about apartment number 4. Oh, sorry, I think I just said your name out loud. Either way, she's watching. Maybe not now, because her music's incredibly loud. I think you can probably hear it. So being fired up can really work for us. I'm going to cover a couple of things real quickly. As you guys know, I prefer you to make comments on here so I can go back and address the things that are misunderstood or need further elaboration in my next video, which almost never happens. People usually go straight to Messenger and message me. Having said that, the overwhelming correspondence in the last couple of days has been about the video that I made about clearing the Earth's sacral chakra so that the voice of Earth could be heard and used now to its fullest natural vibration, tonation, and speaking clarity. And we needed to release what was in the sacral chakra of Earth, that block we had put there to stop invasion that I talked about a couple of weeks ago. What I'm getting messages about from you guys is how to assist yourself in clearing your sacral chakra. There are a multitude of ways I can probably you can do depending on your own intuition. I'm incredibly nervous right now. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know. And apartment number 4 is messaging me about her music. Yes, we can all hear your music. Thank you very much. Apartment number 4. So one of the things that you can do that I know of for sure for clearing the sacral chakra is you can go to YouTube and find an attunement video to clear all the chakras. If you know it's your sacral chakra, which is what rules your sexual energy and also your creative drive, which there is no different. One fuels the other. They both fuel each other. You can just go to YouTube and find a video on sacral chakra clearing and clear your sacral chakra that way. If you're not sure it's your sacral chakra, by all means, you can do the video for clearing you can go on there and just simply clear the sacral chakra. I think that's an important thing to do. I also know that that is what I have been doing, not just because of the hospital stay and all of that stuff that was pent up from that, but from stuff that was going on with me before I went into the hospital. There are things that I have been holding back to people. Now, I always watch every video that I make, usually a couple of times, because there is never much of a plan for this video. There may be a brief sentence or two about what's going to come up, but I never know what's going to come up. That's why when this comes to you, the title may not exactly go with the video. There's no description, there's no hashtag, there's no nothing, because I'm letting whatever needs to come out for you, for whoever's here, whoever's on social media in general. I allow and invite that information to come out and come through in its truest, natural, organic form. So clearing the sacral chakra, releasing, letting that all out is really, really super important for us at this time. And part of that is once you're clearing that sacral chakra, you will find that things that you have held down, swept under the rug, tried not to address, maybe just didn't want to confront someone with, those things are going to be coming up. So in watching my last video about speaking your truth, whether that's moving to Hawaii or telling someone that you're in love with them or whatever it is, I was not wanting to do that. And I was not wanting to do that for the exact same reasons I mentioned in the video before. It's not like Hawaii's going to turn you down, but maybe the person you're in love with is going to turn you down, or maybe that job you really want is going to turn you down. But it's so important at this amazing time after clearing the sacral chakra of Earth, so that the vibration could come clear and loud and fluently through the vocal box of planet. We must then do that for ourselves. So whatever we've suppressed or swept under the rug or perhaps buried needs to be spoken. So I took my own advice. I'm watching that video and thinking, you're such an incredible hypocrite. And I didn't know that the video was going to be about that. That's why I told you the process in which I am what's the word I'm looking for? Guided to get on here at a certain day and a certain time and speak to you. And I normally don't know what that's about. So in rewatching that video, I thought, if I don't do this right now, if I don't release to me, if I don't speak from my own voice box, my frequency and my vibration of what is sacred to me, then I'm not doing what I'm advising everyone else to do. And so I did that, and it was a little bit of a shocking process for me yesterday. Spend a lot of time crying and a lot of time releasing. So if you're in that area and these solar storms, this solar inundation, this vibration, this energy is already wanting us to purge things, every time the energy comes in, it pushes what needs to come up and out. So clear that sacral chakra. And the second step is speak your truth to anyone that you need to express truth without paying attention to. And this is the hard part, how that other person's going to react to you being in love with you, being in love with them, or that place you may be stalking for that future job, whatever it is. Clearing the sacral chakra is only half done until you speak what is sacred to you. And I'm mentioning that to you and finding the sacral chakra release music on YouTube because I've been receiving so much correspondence about, okay, I'm here, I saw this video, I totally get it, I need help beyond this point. And that wasn't in the last video, so it's a good thing. I want to take a moment to say an incredible thank you to the people who understand that other than tarot readings, I have not been physically able to work for the last year. Now, I would love to say that I could and got out of the hospital and went straight back to work, but that's actually not true. Because as I mentioned, I've spent an incredible time eating, sleeping, and crying to release that which happened to me on the operating table. Being Narcaned 4 times, that was a chemical release that I had to release. The trauma of being told that I almost didn't make it off the table after clearing the sacral of Earth. It was, I believe, about 15 days, 16 days afterwards that I had the surgery on my sacral chakra. And then I was told that I almost didn't make it. They asked me if I was a hard drug user, and I was really, really confused. And they said that normally when someone dies on the operating table, they only need to be Narcaned 1 time, not 4 times. And though I needed to release that Narcan from my system physically, I really feel like I rather would have not known that that scenario happened, because it felt like it added to the grief and to all the other things held in the sacral chakra that had been swept under the rug. that I was not paying attention to. This was kind of another added layer of something that then needed to be released. So I wanted to take the time to say thank you to those people that understood that I was not physically capable of work in the last year, and the incredible amount of people that have prayed, meditated, sent love, sent healing, all of those things to me. But specifically, I'm thanking you as well for the donations that I have received in the short amount of time that I have been out of the hospital. You have no idea how much that means to me that you guys would support me in that way. Outside of my family, I have never had a support system. I have never had a friend or a boyfriend or a roommate in my entire life that I could ever rely on anything for. And the only reason I'm saying that to you is I have been told so many times how miraculously I'm healing in this last week, and what an incredible job I do at being emotionally balanced and of taking care of myself. And I realized in a conversation with a friend yesterday that the incredible gift that's given to me in taking care of myself the way I've taken care of myself my entire life has been because when I realized that no one else was going to be there for me permanently ever, at that point, I had never experienced that. I experienced, and I don't want this to be about past negative experiences. So I will say in short that I learned to be my own best friend when no one else would be my best friend, or no one else could be or would be a stabilizing force in my life. I have never, ever had that. I've been through some tremendous things, and that taught me early in my 20s that I do myself, I be myself, I speak my truth, and be in my authenticity, no matter how that energy may jive with someone else's reality. I learned when I went to bed to turn my phone off on airplane mode. I learned that I always was going to sleep a certain amount, 8 hours or 9 hours a night forever. I was always going to feed myself good food. I was always going to be my best friend. And a lot of times when people aren't there for you, we can get into this shitty mindset or shitty disposition that no one's ever going to be there for me, so why should I be there for myself? But for me, it had the exact opposite reaction. I'm like, wow, I am all I ever have. I'm all I've ever had, and maybe I'm all I'm ever going to have. So I need to be my best friend and my own biggest supporter and cheerleader. And I'm telling you that because that's where I'm leading into with this video right now. This current energy, as I have experienced it, and the people that I've spoken to within the last 8 to 9 days leading up to this lunar eclipse have experienced it, as this energy is a dark tunnel of judgment about what's happening within the 3D versus what's happening in the other dimensions. So leading up to the lunar eclipse, and this energy is here for 6 months. I know sometimes you want to watch a video and rush out of it and say, okay, well, that's done. I get it. I'm done with it. 6 months, this energy. And there are lots of things in this energy, but the absolute strongest thing that I feel in this energy is a tunnel, a deep, dark tunnel into the abyss of judgment. What have I done with my life? Where have I been? How have I let myself be treated? How have I treated myself? How am I dealing with current multi-dimensional reality when it comes to 3D friendships or 3D relationships, or my relationship with food or sleep, or how I'm treating myself in general? So this current energy is a dark tunnel of self-judgment about what's happening in 3D versus the higher dimensions. So I might pose the question to you that when we come from the perspective of looking outside of ourselves or what other people say about the ascension process or becoming multidimensionality, I know better. Why can't I do better? You know better. Why can't you do better? Or why can't you be less judgmental? Again, we're in the tunnel of self-judgment about what is going on in the 3D reality versus multidimensionality. And I'll give you a simple example of that, okay? The quantum field of unlimited potential does not care if you wish Tina Hammond a birthday on October 26th. But Tina Hammond is currently in a 3D body and very much cares whether you wish her a happy birthday or not. And even that crossed my mind. Like, why is that even a big deal, whether someone acknowledges my birthday? I want to be really careful about how I say this, but family members and very good friends that didn't even acknowledge the fact that I was in the hospital or that they almost lost me. No acknowledgement. And I actually spent a lot of time, not so much about the birthday thing, but about the other stuff that's happened to me recently. If I know better, why can't I do better? If that person knows better, why can't they do better? Again, a birthday maybe is not such a big deal, but there were family members and there were friends that didn't acknowledge the fact that they almost lost me. They didn't come to see me. They didn't call to see how I was. I had to reach out to people and let them know what happened. And there was almost no response. So where did that leave me? That left me thinking, does this person care about me? Am I in a friendship with someone that has zero compassion or zero empathy for anything that I've gone through in the last couple weeks? And this is what I mean by the dark, deep tunnel right now of self-judgment. Should I be judging someone for not wishing me a happy birthday? Or should I be judging for someone for not acknowledging the fact that they almost lost me? I don't know. It's been really heavy on my mind. The thing is, we're multi-dimensional. We've been becoming multi-dimensional at different stages and different levels for different people at different times for many, many years now. So even though I'm multi-dimensional and I know better and I could do better, I'm still in a 3D body. I still want to be acknowledged for certain 3D milestones, just like I'm sure all of you do. And so this tunnel, this deep tunnel, this dark tunnel about where's the scale of 3D and multidimensionality? Now, why can't I be acknowledged in the third dimension? Why is that when a large group of people are acknowledging me, they're acknowledging me in the multidimensional sense, but not acknowledging me in another sense? And I'm not saying this to you because it's the people that I'm interacting with that are doing this to me. I'm saying this to you because I know it's happening to you as well. Maybe you just bought a house or you just got married or whatever, and within multidimensionality, someone doesn't say a word about your marriage, or they don't say a word about your house or your baby or your hospital stay. They just simply say, hey, happy 11/11. Again, that's what I mean by making a judgment in multidimensionality versus 3D. So I feel like since I am the person experiencing multidimensionality, that I know better so that I can be better. So I cannot pass a judgment on you for not acknowledging the fact that I almost didn't get to be here to make this video, to bring this video to you today. And that fact alone has caused me to release a lot. And I think for different people, it's going to be different things. It's not going to be the same for everyone. But in the people I've talked to in the last week, it's the same exact thing. It's a multidimensional recognition that refuses for some reason to recognize or correspond or empathize with you on a 3D level, and that's hard. So maybe if you're on the other end of that spectrum, you can remember that people within your 3D reality need a 3D acknowledgement on the positive milestones and positive happenings within their life. And it's really important. We don't want to forget or feel like we've been forgotten about by our friends and family. And it hurt me greatly that I had to reach out to people and ask them if they were okay, because they knew I almost died and didn't say a word. And it's so bizarre. And I'm not going to keep talking about health related stuff, but I'm telling you, we all have different things within us, different catalysts within us that are pushing us at this time to release things, different things that we are going through. For me, it happened to be surgery. And again, I really wish I didn't know that it took so much strength and effort to bring me back to the earth plane. Because when I went in there for what should have been a simple surgery, the fact that I wasn't going to come out of the hospital, the thought of that didn't cross my mind, not even for a split second, even though I signed a piece of paper saying that I could die. I never thought it was a possibility. So maybe I'm not the only person here who feels like if I know better, why can't I do better? And maybe I'm not the only person here that feels like, why can't I be the bigger person? If I have the higher vantage point, or I have more knowledge, or a broader scope of awareness of anything in physical reality, why can't I be the bigger person? And it's hard because there is a gap between 3D and the other dimensions, which are coming through our body. And I know sometimes when I speak about this, people don't really understand things. So I'm going to say a couple of words very briefly about multi-dimensionality. The first dimension is the core of Earth. So when you talk about multi-dimensionality, you talk about just being 3D, and now I'm experiencing the different dimensions. And so multi-dimensionality obviously means that we're no longer just a 3D being. So within my multi-dimensionality, once I've started that process, I will connect to, and you don't have to even connect to these in a certain row. It's going to depend upon your energetic makeup. Like if you're an air sign, you'll have a lot of air. So maybe communication is your thing. So you might pick up the 9th dimension, right? Before you would ever pick up the first dimension. But when you start picking up the first dimension, that's going to connect you with the crystalline core of Earth, the template that's in there. You might start seeing different animals or different beings, or talking to different races off the planet. That would be connection to the core of Earth and the template of all human life within this universe. Second dimension, that would be like elves and fairies and the elemental kingdom. So maybe you saw fairies, or maybe you experienced birds having conversations with you or waving at you, or things like that. I actually had a lizard lift up his arm and wave to me on a landscaping job. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And I turned around and looked at my girlfriend. She goes, you're not crazy. I blatantly saw that lizard just wave at you. And I've had squirrels wave at me and play peekaboo around trees with me. And I interact with this stuff. That's second dimensional. You understand the third dimension, but your third dimensional, even your third dimensional aspect is going to be more enlivened, right? So maybe you're talking more to squirrels, or you're touching more trees as you walk, or you're paying more attention to cloud formation. Fourth dimensional frequency of multidimensionality is anything that hangs out in the fourth dimensional realm. Could be you in your astral travels, could be your family or ancestors or friends in their astral travel or sleep time or dream time. Could be angels, could be negative, energetic, interdimensional beings. Yeah, fifth dimension. light bodies, off-planet activated. There are certain animals, ocean animals, that have a 5D template. You may start connecting with them. You may start connecting more with the water because some of those 5D things are in the water. Sixth dimension. Light is about light and shadow. It's about frequency. It's about sacred geometry. The seventh dimension is about sound frequency. So let's say you're hearing an internal song within your body, a music, and you don't know where it's coming from. It's your seventh dimensional template turning on. Seventh dimensional template is about sound. It's about music. And it can be a little startling when it turns on. It's like you could say, I know hundreds of thousands of sounds. That's a pin drop. That's the toaster coming up. That's whatever. But you'll start to hear things and your brain won't be able to make a match with it. That's because it's a seventh dimensional sound frequency. Eighth dimension, where your higher self resides more between the eighth and ninth dimension. So when I say becoming multidimensionality, it means connecting to the things that reside within other dimensions. But I've had a lot of people in the last week as well say to me, I get it, multidimensional. I know we're becoming it. I know I'm changing, but I don't quite understand what you're saying when you say that. So I thought that I would elaborate. Now, you could be experiencing some 10, 11, 12th dimensional things. Most of us are not doing it on a regular basis. So don't think when I'm saying, okay, you're experiencing your higher self from the eighth dimension, that your higher self's going to come through and say, write this down in your journal. Because again, it could be connecting with the first dimensional template of blueprint for universe within this, in connection with the first dimensional frequency, vibration, or template of all living sentient life within our universe. You could be connecting or seeing fairies. That's the second dimension. That's the elemental kingdom, okay? Or birds or lizards waving at you, or really weird things that you think, oh, well, that's just a synchronicity. But I'm just giving you a little bit of information about each dimension so that you can understand what that's saying. So what we're starting to do is we're saying, oh, I'm Tina, I'm going to the store or I'm going out on a date. So now I'm going to get dressed, and you're in 3D, right? But then maybe you look in the mirror and you start hearing your higher self or interdimensional beings talking to you, right? You're still in 3D, you're still putting on your makeup, you're still getting ready for that date. But multidimensionality increase is going to have you doing other things while you're in 3D, right? So maybe initially when you or anyone started on this path, in order to tap into multidimensional aspects or put yourself in the astral realm or access information from your higher self or interdimensional beings, you had to lay down and put yourself in a state and all of that. But our increasing contact or connectivity within multidimensionality means I'm not trying. That means I'm out digging holes to drop tulip bulbs, and all of a sudden I see blue beings that are in storage within the core of planet Earth. Or I'm digging a hole for tulips, and all of a sudden I'm seeing mandalas or light formations or rainbows or auras around people. So I don't want you to think when I say multidimensionality that you got to go lay down and take a load off and listen to 3 hours of, chant or some kind of frequency to get in that space. Our becoming and our increasing connectivity to multidimensionality means I'm getting ready for the date, or I'm digging holes for tulip bulbs, and I'm connecting with this, or I'm connecting with ancestors in that realm, or I'm connecting with sacred geometry, or I can hear the voice of a tulip bulb, or I can feel the appreciation of the trees when I'm talking sweet to them. Okay, so it's not anything crazy. It's not like you're going to know. And I think a lot of times people think that some being shows up over here and, we have coffee and we talk about what this video is going to be, or something like that. But that's just not the way it happens. It's bits and pieces coming from the different dimensions. I see that there is an existence within that template of core of earth for other kinds of beings I didn't know existed. First dimension. Then I may see light fractals or auric beams around people. And so we're shifting in and out of this all day long. And that is why I started talking initially about being a good friend, or for, in my case, not ever being able to really rely on anyone outside of my family for anything for a very, well, just ever, until my neighbor recently. And I don't mean that I don't get amazing feedback and correspondence and help from many of you do. But again, 3D, so I'm talking about people that are in my 3D reality. It's not something I've experienced before, is having that kind of assistance. And I know for a lot of us, it's making us feel better. It's making us feel like, if I know better, why can't I do better? If I have a bigger scope of awareness, why can't I use that to be more empathetic in that situation? And I've been in this fight with myself, and most of you that I've talked to in the last 7 days have also been in this fight with yourself about making judgments on yourself and your life and how the other people around you are acknowledging or not acknowledging your burdens, your triumphs, your glories, your achievements, your milestones in the third dimension, when they are open to accepting you on a multi-dimensional level. So that's what I wanted to talk about. This friendship thing comes up over and over and over again. And if I was sitting here being the hermit that you actually know me to be and talking to no one instead of talking to a multitude of you that follow this channel, that reach out to me, that ask questions, that I speak to. And what I'm speaking to in that, of that, and with that is right now navigating friendship and a spiritual reality. I've seen a lot of this. We've seen a lot of people dropping out of our reality, or as I said in the last video, finding a way to sometimes smoothly or not so smoothly exit stage left in your reality. Or as I talked about last time, dancing around the peripheral of your reality, but not really being in it unless you happen to catch them at a time where you're open and they're open and they have the time to acknowledge you or have a conversation. Navigating friendship within the spiritual reality is a little bit of a challenge right now. Because where is the line here? And what are the boundaries here? Or what are my expectations? And this is something I've been talking about with many of you for the last several days. I don't want to say the word unfortunately, because I don't think it's unfortunate, but I do want you to know that an incredible amount of people, instead of watching this video, and this has been going on for me for many, many years, reach out and they want personal one-on-one attention. And I just can't. That's not something that I've been able to do. Certainly not after coming out of the hospital, but even up until that point, up until that point for the last couple of years, I just can't do the one-on-one stuff with everybody on a regular basis. And so that's why I've kind of have asked people to, make comments on this channel, or just to try to do it in a more streamlined way. And it's not that I don't appreciate the friendship. It's not that I don't love you. It's just that I couldn't do this. I can't be on the front line of this. I can't assimilate to what's going on. I can't read the energy. If my energy is all over the place, talking to a multitude of people, I do try to get back to everyone always. And I look at what is the group experiencing, what needs to be said here that maybe I didn't talk about, or what's coming up with people that's also coming up. Because when you guys message me and ask me something, it's not something that I'm not going through as well. And so your piece of it and my piece of it together make the pie. And when you have the pie, it's easier to understand the recipe. So I appreciate that. And just because I don't correspond with you on a daily basis doesn't mean I don't like you. I can't do this. I can't be on the front line of this in the way that I am, without having an extreme amount of rest, an extreme amount of exercise, and an extreme amount of self-care. Because I discovered such a long time ago that I am my best friend. So if that ever bothers you that I don't correspond that way, I'm sorry. But again, doing this and trying to spread myself all over the place has been an issue. That's actually the thing that started me making videos in the first place, was because that when people were reaching out to me, it was multiple people with the exact same problem, even though if it wasn't the exact same scenario, it was the same problem. And so I turned that into videos to address what's in the energy, how that's affecting you, why you're going through what you are going through, and any way that I can help you maneuver through that, because I'm usually in the energy about 48 hours before you are. So navigating friendships within this spiritual reality is a little bit difficult. And as a group, this is something that has been in our face as a catalyst for the last several weeks. Where is the line? Where is the boundary? In order for not only me to do my job, but in order for you to do your job as well, you have to be grounded and rested and well nurtured and your own best friend. Now, within the dynamics that we're experiencing right now, there are people, as I said, dancing around your peripheral of your energy field. So kind of in your life, but not really the way you maybe want them to be. Or a lot of people are exiting your life, and a lot of people have been exiting your life for the last several years. But now even the people that we are super, super close with, that we are always able to have an amazing connectivity with, also seem to be exiting stage left, or taking a deep dive into something that maybe we can't understand. Patience is not one of Tina Hammond's greatest virtues. I've admitted that multiple times in front of the camera. I just know sometimes people are experiencing things that are really difficult, or they can't talk about it, or maybe they don't know what they're experiencing, and that makes it difficult for them as well. But what I'm seeing, not only within myself, but within a group of us, is trying to maneuver through having these soul connections, this amazing bond of connectivity, soul to soul, in a spiritual way, while we're on a spiritual path, and kind of not understanding why people don't respond to us, or we feel like they're being dishonest, or we feel like they've just exited stage left with absolutely no explanation. And it hurts and it's painful, and people are like, well, it shouldn't be painful. You're multidimensional. But yes, I still have a heart and I'm still in a three-dimensional body. So it is that way. It's going to continue to be that way until you decide to exit your 3D body. Your feelings may get hurt and things like that. I try to look at things from an outside perspective, or broader perspective, or larger awareness when this thing happens. Like yesterday was a really good example. My really good friend, I said, you know what, I'll call you back. I have some stuff to do. And then I got embroiled in this situation of expressing what was sacred to me, allowing and inviting that to come up and speaking it, which turned into a conversation that was way longer and way maybe deeper, or misunderstood than I ever thought it was going to be. But at that point, I messaged her and I simply said, I know I said I'd call you back. I can't do it. I can't talk right now. I can't even pretend that I'm not in the mud right now, that I understand what's going on. I'm so entirely confused. So why can't I be the bigger person? If I know better, why can't I do better? And I know all of us are asking ourselves the same question. And becoming multi-dimensionality doesn't mean, oh, you know what, I'm just going to look at auras and rainbows and unicorns and walk around singing and dancing and spinning all day. We're still in a 3D body. We still have to express our love. We still have to express our fear, express our doubt, express our concerns, and open up and be vulnerable to people. And if we can't do that, I don't think that that person needs to be in our life, or we don't need to be in their life, or however you want to look at it. The thing about me or you being your best friend, what I want in a relationship, whether you're my, family or my girlfriend, my husband, no matter what your role is, I want to be open and expressive and loyal and loving to you, because that's how I treat myself. I'm not looking for someone to give me clarification. I'm not looking for someone to give my validation, to make me feel better about myself, or to say sweet things so that I can feel better about myself. I already have that. I have that, and I want to share that, or express that open vulnerability, that passion, that connection, all of those things. So me being my best friend has led me to know that what I want in a relationship with everyone is being able to express to someone what it is I express to myself. Wow, I just made the best dinner for myself ever. Let me make you the best dinner ever. Let me give you the best back rub ever. Let me read to you the best story ever. Let me sing to you my favorite song ever. I've been expressing and sharing those things with self, being my best friend, for a really long time. And now that's what I want in my relationships, and I won't have anything less than that. And I will speak my truth no matter what. And sometimes it takes me 2 hours to write a text message, because I have to think about and funnel out systemically how I really feel when I'm on fire and in my triple Scorpio mode with, what does this person really mean to me? What am I really trying to say? What's sacred? Because saying, you know what, oh my gosh, I can't take this. You're stressing me out. I don't want to burden you, but I have to release my own burden. Sometimes that brings me into wanting to express myself in a way that's not only not healthy or helpful to me, but it's also not helpful to that other person, as well. But there's a fine line here. What's the appropriate boundary? What's okay for me to say to you, Yeah. So the thing that's going on when we are looking at, and I'll go back to it one more time, is I think it's incredibly important for you to know, 8 days before this lunar eclipse that we had on November 8th, and 6 months after, is going to be a tunnel or a pathway or gateway, however you want to look at that, whatever word you want to use. I'm not word specific here. The gateway, the pathway to judgment about what you need in your life, what works for you, how you interact with other people, and how that works for them. The thing about being in this corridor, where we're getting out that Libra scale of justice and saying, okay, here's what I need in 3D, and here's my multidimensionality. The judgment is not that we're judging people on the world stage or what's going on the macrocosmic level. It's we are making a judgment on what is happening within the 3D in our own lives versus what is happening in the multidimensional within our lives. Because it's easy to say, you know what? I prefer lizards and squirrels waving at me. I prefer rainbows and beautiful auric fields, and therefore I'm not going to speak what's sacred to me. I'm just going to let it all sit down here in my sacral chakra. But the biggest thing about this, you guys, is we in a 3D body, we're trying to use the reptilian monkey mind, or the logical mind, to move through things and make logical sense of things. Okay, so We're using the logical mind to maneuver through things that make no logical sense. So in my multidimensionality, in my multidimensional connectivity, I'm seeing that template, or I'm seeing an astral person or an angel or sacred geometry, or I'm talking to interdimensional beings, and I'm going, what is this person saying? What's going on? What's the lesson? What's this? The monkey mind is racing, right? The monkey mind is racing to make sense about it, to make sense of it. But while we're in a 3D body, the 3D is what makes logical sense, if you're lucky on a good day, right? But the multidimensional aspects are not going to make multidimensional sense to us in the 3D. Now, if you spend an incredible amount of time in nature and writing things down and saying, wow, there's a story that keeps coming up, and looking at it and looking at the pieces of it and breaking down, yes, you are going to understand it. That's what I do in my life. That's what I have done for the past 2 decades. And that's where this information comes from, is me breaking it down. But I will never be able to use my logical mind to maneuver through something multidimensional where there is no logic. And so if you yourself are doing this as well, we're all making it challenging on ourselves. And it's not that we're trying to or that we want to. I don't know of any kind of ascension manual, and even I don't look anymore, but within the past couple of years, the people talking about ascension have only resonated with parts and pieces of me. And I prefer, especially now at this point within this connectivity, to dive into myself, or the archetype that lies within the core of the planet or within my own DNA, instead of going outside. We don't have a manual, which makes it a little bit more challenging, because we are still in the 3D mind and the 3D body, and using the logical mind to maneuver through things that don't make any logical sense doesn't get us anywhere. It's like the song that said chewing bubble gum is about as effective as, how does that go? It's like comparing chewing bubble gum to chewing bubble gum to help you equate or solve a complicated math problem, right? It does nothing but distract you. So our monkey mind does nothing but distract us. We have to learn how to calm down, how to breathe, and how to say, this sacred geometry that I'm seeing is beautiful. This lizard waving at me, hi, little lizard, you're waving at me, is beautiful. Whatever you're experiencing, it's like we have to just acknowledge it instead of trying to understand it. And it's not the fault of anything other than the fact that we have a 3D archonic mind construct. So the way out of that is by simply making an acknowledgement to the multidimensional things that show up to you, and stop trying to maneuver through them with the logical mind when they make no logical sense. Okay? Because that's like trying to put boundaries on things that are boundless. That's the other problem we're having in spiritual connectivity, spiritual relationships with our husbands, wives, girlfriends, families. It's a spiritual connection that's boundless. But I'm going to get mad when you don't call me in the 3rd dimension, or you don't acknowledge my milestone in the 3rd dimension. It's a little bit, I'm not going to lie, of a head trip here, right? Because you have a relationship with your girlfriend, your husband, whoever it is. It's boundless connection to the quantum field when you're in a spiritual connection. But then you're trying to tell yourself, don't be mad when this person calls, or don't be mad when this person stands you up for a date, or don't be mad when this person doesn't acknowledge the fact that you bought a house or had a baby. It's a lot to juggle. So take a deep breath, acknowledge the beautiful things and the beautiful people and places that show up for you, and try to maybe be more in a state of gratitude. And I know it's hard, especially as a Scorpio, somebody with a personality that always wants to feel like they can clearly, concisely connect and communicate with people so that they understand what I'm saying, and I make sure that I understand what you're saying. And sometimes It just doesn't work. But trying to place boundaries on something that's boundless, so you have a spiritual connection with someone, a soul-to-soul connection with someone that you're trying to hash out 3D particulars. And sometimes even with that, close your eyes, take a deep breath. What does it feel like to be loved by this person? What does it feel like to have this person as a friend? Instead of, what does it feel like to have this person not call me when they keep telling me to call them, but they never answer? It's a lot. It's a lot going on. What's happening within our 3D reality versus what's happening to us multidimensionally, and how there's a very uneven parallel in the pavement between those two things, okay? But trying to place boundaries on things that are boundless. How can you put boundaries on the unlimited potential of the quantum field? If I really do love you, and if you're my friend, you're my family, you're my lover, and I really do love you, and we have a soul-to-soul boundless connection, why am I trying to put third dimensional boundaries on it? It's because I have a third dimensional mind, and we're all working through how do we deal with this difference in the different dimensions, how people treat us, how we connect with them. You may have a beautiful relationship with someone in 7D and it's glorious, and you try to explain yourself or justify yourself or tell that person what your needs are or what your feelings are, and maybe they just don't get it, or maybe they feel more comfortable denying it. But clearing the sacral chakra. The sacral chakra is where how we create with our creativity, our life, our direction, our passion, our creativity, our mission. Everything comes from that. Sorry, I didn't know I was going to be on here this long. I actually have a reading that was supposed to start 10 minutes ago. So let me wrap this up. What I'm hearing is a lot of people saying, why? Why is this happening? Why is this going on? What is going on? How do we stay present while we're accessing the future? That's what everyone seems to be experiencing right now. Oh, there's this beautiful energy and I'm connecting multidimensionally and I see all these things, and here comes this dream job, and here comes the place of always wanted to live, and here comes this amazing lover, and I feel it and I feel it and I feel it, but it's not here yet. So how do we stay in the present moment while accessing future energy? What I want to say to you is this is what it feels like to me. To try to put it in a 3D perspective the best way that maybe I possibly can, this is what it feels like to me. Let's say all of the Akashic record, or all of everything that ever was, is, or will be, is right here. Like basically, let's say above your head. Let's say everything that is, was, or ever will be is above you. And at any time you can access that. Well, we can, we will, and we do. And that's the biggest reason we're noticing such a stark difference in our 3D relationships when it comes to soul connections of multidimensionality. So what this feels like to me is we have this big, beautiful, expansive, loving connectivity that's right there that we can access anytime we want. Now, the issue for me and many of you is you're spending time multidimensionally connecting to that energy so strongly that the things around you that are not happening or are happening in 3D seem less real than anything else. So again, why doesn't multidimensionality match up with what I feel from this person, or what I feel for this person, or what my current experience is? And when I look at it, here's what I see. This is huge. Every single thing that we're feeling, that we're experiencing, that we're reading, that we're watching videos about, whether you're talking about soulmates, twin flames, the reset, the clearing of the ley lines, the opening and closing of portals, whatever it is that is, has been, or ever will be stored within the Akashic record, has already happened multidimensionally. The more we become multidimensionally connected, the less we feel that the 3D is not real. Wow, the way you're responding to me is not real compared to the way you feel about me. Things like that. What is taking so long for these two simultaneous energies to collide? I see this up here. I see the reset. I've seen the reset for 3 years. That's one of the reasons I had to dip out of listening to Tonight at Midnight, Eastern Standard Time. The reset's going to happen. That's why I had to get out of it. I've been experiencing that, not been 3 years. It's been since 2016 that I'm seeing that. How much longer, Papa Smurf? How much further, Papa Smurf? How far are we in actuality from this multidimensional awareness capacity of everything that is, was, and ever will be, matching up with the third dimension? And I can't give you the answer, but I can share my frustration in case you're not already feeling it. Like I said, I've been very fired up the last 24 hours. If everything's already up there energetically, it's up here above me, and it's all already happened. It would explain why we're all talking about this happened to me yesterday, but it happened to her 6 months ago, and it doesn't happen to this person until 2 years from now. But here's the thing that I want you to know, because I've been just as frustrated with all of it. The reset, the financial reset, the cabal, the whole, yes, bring on freedom, let freedom reign. Let's be done with it. Earth party, commence. I'm in the same place you have been. The difference is I've been here long enough to know that I can't read or watch or listen to anything about what the time frame is for those things anymore. So how do we stay present in the moment while accessing that reset, while accessing that beautiful partnership, whatever it is, that job, whatever it is? The thing is, it has already happened. It's all already happened. That's why when you ask someone for a date or for proof, even if they can't give you anything, they say, no, I know it's going to happen. I feel it's going to happen. It's happening right now, right? And everybody might be on a different time frame. It's happening. It's already happened. The thing is, we all want to know how long before it shows up in 3D reality. And I don't have an answer for that. I wish I did for myself, just as much as I do for you. Here's my realization that I had this morning, though. If I'm a conduit and you're a conduit, or we as a humanity are a conduit for this future energy, if I can't believe in it, what I know, what I feel, what I see up here for years, it's been going on for me. If I am a conduit and you and we as a humanity are a conduit for this beautiful change, this multi-dimensional humanity with a changed physical reality, we're the conduit for this future energy that we already know. We already know it's happening. But every time we get in this, when's it going to happen? Or I don't think it's going to happen. Or I don't think this certain thing happened for my greatest and highest good. Have to know that we are the conduit for future energy. And if you know you're the conduit for future energy, I'm so excitable today. We have to remain an anchor for planet Earth in being the conduit for that future energy. Instead of saying, how freaking far off, Papa Smurf, is that future energy? Well, you know it's there, you feel it, you're accessing it already. If I can't believe in it, if you can't believe in it, I feel it, you feel it. But if I can't believe in it and you can't believe in it and we can't believe in it, then we can't anchor it. And it's not going to come to fruition. And it's such a catch-22. I mean, talk about trying to get out of your logical mind to understand something within the quantum field of unlimited potential while your mind is saying, how much further, Papa Smurf? How much longer, Papa Smurf? Those of you who are not from the United States might not get it. In every Smurf episode, how much further, Papa Smurf? It's an American thing. At least I think it's an American thing. So that's what that reference is. So important. We are the conduit for the future energy. We are the conduit for anchoring within the unlimited potential of the quantum field. And we are the anchor for what is within the Akashic record of possibility of this reset and all the other things that we have been waiting so patiently, and some of us, me included, impatiently on. We already feel it. That's the first step. The second step is we have to continue to believe in it. But the most important thing is we have to continue to believe in ourselves and each other as a conduit to anchor this energy into the fruition of 3D physical reality, so that we can stop with the scales of where am I, or where are you, where are we in 3D in comparison with our multi-dimensional reality. And the last thing I want to say is that the only reason I spoke about being my own best friend was not so that I could get the point across to you that I've never been able to rely on someone. It is that I want you to know that there are people in our lives that can't be present right now. There are people in our lives that are maybe exiting, but right now there's a whole lot of temporary exiting, or a whole lot of what I'll call a pause. So maybe you talk to someone 4 times a day and now you can't get a hold of them. Or maybe you really rely on someone for something, and right now there's a pause or a postponement in that. And people keep reaching out to me saying, why is this person acting this way? Why is this person? Yeah, I don't know, you guys. I'm experiencing the same thing you are. But when you ask me that, it brings through clarity, and that's what I want to deliver. If I'm being my own best friend, right? And you're being your own best friend. But let's say that person's not being their own best friend. Let's say that person has a major life change that they need to make for themselves, but they just can't get themselves to do it. Or they're scared to do it, or they don't want to do it, or whatever it is. If you're in the energy of being your own best friend, and you're wondering why someone dipped out on you, it's because they can't match that energy right now. If there's a major, even if it's minor, but we're not dealing with a lot of minor stuff right now. We're dealing, guys, with a lot of major stuff right now. There are major changes that people on, even within our first wave of expanded conscious awareness and connection to the quantum field of unlimited potential. There are people that are resisting change. Massive things that need to happen to change in their life. So while they're not being their own best friend, they can't match the energy. They can't show up for you. They can't talk to you 4 times a day. They can't respond to you the way you want to be responded to. They can't empathize with you on the level that you want to be responded to, and they can't acknowledge you in the 3rd dimension, or your milestones or things that are going on with you the way they want to, because you're in your best friend energy of taking care of yourself. And while that person has that major change and can't get themselves to do it, that is not the energy of someone who's being a best friend. Like, it hurts me to see people in this position, but you're not hurting me. What's hurting me is seeing you not be your authentic self. What's hurting me is seeing you not take care of yourself like you are your own best friend. But you can't, unfortunately, you can't be my best friend while you won't be a best friend to yourself, while you won't make the change that you need to make. And I'm only saying this because it has come up over and over again for the past week. Why has this person disappeared? Or why do they no longer understand me when they've always understood me so perfectly? There's a change they have to make, and there's nothing that you can do to help that person. Okay? You cannot navigate someone else's personal change. You cannot navigate the process for someone else. You cannot, no matter how expanded their consciousness is, if they are stuck in a three-dimensional thing that is a weight and a burden to them, and they can't do anything about it, they can't be here for you right now. And I wanted you to know that there is a pause or a postponement on a relationship where that person cannot match your energy right now. And the reason is not to punish you or for you to think you've done anything wrong. What have I done? What have I said? Why some person doesn't understand me or can't correspond or won't pick up the phone or whatever it is. That is the universe's way of protecting you. If you're being your own best friend, the universe wants to protect you from the burden that that other person that is carrying right now, that is extreme. Because people that have really big changes to make in their life right now that are not changing them, the burden is heavy. If I talk to someone that's going through that, I am so sad for that person that's in that extremely burdened energy. And it's hard because I've been going through this thing of releasing from the sacral chakra of creation and speaking it into existence, or speaking my love, or speaking my authenticity, or whatever it is I need to speak to you. But if that other person's not in that energy, stop worrying why they're not understanding you. Stop worrying about why or how they can't comprehend you right now. Stop worrying about why they're not picking up the phone right now. That's the universe or God or whoever you, whatever thing you wanted to believe, it doesn't matter. There's an energetic force out there that is protecting your energy. And I'm not saying we're perfect, we're enlightened, we're done with ascension. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is, if you're being your own best friend and your best friend, your lover, your boss can't give you back what you need, it's not because of you. It's not you. It's them. They're not being their best friends to themselves. I love you. I'm late for my appointment, and I'm so sorry, Susan. I'm calling you right now. Love you guys. Bye.